I think I did it. Can you check?
I
Oh,
don't
there.
see
Okay, good.
memo
Yep.
yet.
There we go. Well, don't you look pretty? And I am like a hot mess here.
Showered,
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I showered,
Oh, yeah, more than I've done, so that's fine. I probably have spinach in my teeth too.
You're
Yeah.
good.
Okay, good. Well, hi, welcome. I'm sorry we're a little early, but I have to work on Friday, so yeah, so here we are today. So why are you all like dressed and like pretty and shit?
Oh, I mean, I'm just dressed. I'm not even dressed. This is a sweatshirt.
Oh, that's great.
This is a sweatshirt. That's about it. But I know I just had a lovely morning. I mean, my older one is doing like the whole palate expander orthodontic route right now. But it was nice this morning because I was like, hey, the option was either he could sit and wait for us to have his orthodontist appointment at 10, or he could join my morning. And I was like, do you want to walk with me? And he was like, okay. So he walked 2.5 miles with me this morning. And for him, it was, of course, something new and different. And he got to explore. And, Mom, can we take that path? Can we do that? And I was like, yeah, sure, bud. Like, let's do it. We just had to be home in time for me to shower. So,
Right?
shower I did.
Very good. Awesome. And then how his appointment went well? All was good?
Yeah, so I didn't go to his original like consultation thing with him, so I had a lot of questions today, but I was really, really impressed with her sort of plan, like because he's getting his problem is he has a crossbite, like his top teeth were behind the bottom ones. So they're expanding the palate, but of course in doing that, he's getting like a Strahan in the middle. And so I had no idea. My husband's like, so how do we correct that? And I'm like, well, obviously they will sell us braces after they create the space. They will help us fix it. That just seemed like, duh, that's how it's going to go. But then in our appointment today, she said that's actually like all part of the whole process is once everything is expanded, then they do what I'm just referring to as like starter braces for him. So they'll actually keep the expander in there, but stop it from, turning either direction. And then they'll put on a couple brackets to close the gap. And then he'll have a retainer after that. So I was like, super, super cool that like, and I really think it's like, I don't know, because I've never had this experience before, but I think it's like her, like method, so to speak, her program for treating it, because she said when she was a little girl and she had an expander, it created this huge space between her front teeth and she didn't like it at all. So
Yeah.
she doesn't leave her kids, her patients, with that space.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so lovely.
That is. I mean, that sounds like a very pleasant experience coming from the girl who had braces twice and still
Oh,
has the internal retainer. Yeah, I admire and appreciate somebody who can do that. So that's awesome for him that
I
that you
thought
guys.
thought it was a cool approach. Very
Yeah,
good.
that is really cool. I hope he appreciates it too and that he takes care of it.
Fingers crossed. How was your morning? What are you doing today? Not at the hospital?
No, I'm not at the hospital today, thankfully. But I had some work to do. I'm working on doing, I'm created this quiz. I've got actually two quizzes that I'm working on. So I've got the perimenopause quiz. So it's pretty much like do you fit into this bubble? Like, do you need support? And then because I think I have a very passionate heart for GI stuff also. I'm not really sure, like, so I'm thinking about doing a GI one too, because believe it or not, like GI and perimenopause, like they all go like hand in hand. So, like some people who think they're hormonal, but they're not really sure, might actually be more of a GI kind of consult, like not consult, but like figure out the quiz, like if that's good for you. So, I've been doing a lot of brainstorming and like putting all a lot of pieces together. So I've done a lot of work this morning, but I walked 2 miles while I was doing it. So that was awesome.
Girl. There
Yeah.
you go. Multitasking.
Yeah,
I
I definitely
tell you,
was, but yeah.
it's just really funny that you were having like exactly those two schools of thought this morning because I was talking to one of my girlfriends and she, had obviously we're all at the same age, we're 44, 45 in that time frame. And she was saying that she had thought that she's like, maybe it's not perimenopause, like maybe that's a thing as well, but I think I have Hashimoto's. And I was like, well, what's making you think that? So she ran down some of her symptoms and I was like, okay, reasonable. But they could be a couple other things as well. So anyway, she did just get the final blood work back and it says everything is fine. Um,
Well,
but
pause. I'd be curious to know which labs were done there because
so I already asked her for her blood work because I wanted you to look at it.
good, 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 good. So there's like the TSH is not enough. Like if your doctor, like if you're having these symptoms and they just run a TSH, just tell them to piss off pretty much because there's so many other labs that like we need to know if you have antibodies, we need to know T3, T4, but like we need to be able to see that picture. And then I just want to like pause and just say, what kind of gut symptoms is she having in addition to this Hashimoto's?
Right.
Because your gut also helps create and or your liver does just as much for turning over that T3, and the T3 is your active hormone, and that's the one that makes you feel like shit, like because if you don't have enough of it, then like that's your metabolism, like that's your fire. So yeah, so shoot those labs to me. I would love to
Yes.
help with that.
It's
So
funny because I was like, okay, I want somebody to look at your labs that is really focused on this stuff. So I was like, can you send them to me? And I was like, in the meantime, like think about the hair mineral test, like see where your minerals are at. You might be severely depleted, and the hair mineral test is going to tell you sort of the opposite side of what the blood work is going to tell you, what your body is pushing out. Like, it's all part of the same whole. And if you're not getting any answers, if you're just feeling run
mhm.
down and totally craptastic, and she's not out of shape. I mean, she exercises plenty. She's running Broad Street this weekend. Like that's a 10-mile run around here. So like she definitely needs someone to look at it through the lens of female specific health. And so
Mhm.
I was like, all right, hold on. I got a girl for that.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. Yeah, well, good for her for still doing the 10-mile run. So, but
Yes.
when you were talking about the hair tissue mineral, yes, hair tissue mineral analysis. Oh my
There
gosh,
you
I don't know
go.
why that was so hard for me. Um, I was able to take my thyroid number when I first did my first HTMA. It was in the 70s.
Okay.
It's now in the 30s. Like I was able to cut that in half just by
Wow.
changing diet and lifestyle stuff and working on some nervous system stuff. So,
That's
oh,
fantastic.
which reminds me because I had to relocate. Did you meditate or journal at
Oh
all?
my God, I took a picture this morning. I was gonna tag you in it with probably something less than nice. But I took a picture this morning of my bedside table with my journal on it.
Love it.
I did. So I think something I've realized is like I journal in my head a lot.
Mhm.
Like I'm like going through it all in my head. I don't write it down on paper. So when I kind of opted to sit there and start writing things down, first of all, my pen kept like going to the dry place, and then I have to go up in the corner and scribble until it went back. And I was like, this is not conducive to happiness. But, but one of the things I realized is like I'm really good at, like I said, kind of mental journaling in my head of like, I'm grateful for that. I have this thought, whatever. Where I think the writing it down on paper this morning felt cathartic for me was the the term I used this morning to describe the feeling was the whirling, like
Mm.
when my brain just starts to whirl around and around and around
I,
and around.
I call it flushing because it feels like flushing of a toilet.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
I it feels like whirling, like everything is whirling and swirling and going around and around.
Yeah.
So when I was writing down this morning, I was like, okay, the whirling thoughts, and I just like got all those out, and then I'm like a wantrepreneur, so then I had like another area that was like things that I wish I would invent, or things that like could be helpful in a certain way. So then I like got my wantrepreneur inventor side out as well. So I didn't I did more, I guess, of like morning pages than I did with like a specific practice of like affirmations and things like that. But it was helpful, and I took a picture and I meant to post. I didn't get there, but I meant to.
But you did it.
That I did it.
And
I
that means
did.
more than anything. When like
Yes.
when you do that, like you be like, "Hey, I did that." Like you're telling your body like, "Yeah, and did you like it? Like can you do it again?" Like you're just
Yeah.
reinforcing that feel good feeling. But yeah, but it doesn't have to be perfect. but the fact that you
Yeah.
did it is more than anything. So,
I did it, and I had already like during the morning whirling, I had already like had a thought, and then it was gone by the time I got to the journal. And I was like, this is one of the reasons why keeping it close is helpful, because then it could have been gotten out on paper. Because now that's like kind of in the back of my head, like, dang it, what was that thing I wanted to write down so I could get it out of my head? But now it's neither in my head or out of my head. It's just living in purgatory, like 80% of my things that I have to do.
oh my God. So yeah, so that would be a really good pointer for like anybody listening is that to have a little notebook or journal right by your bed, especially if you're finding that you're waking up in the middle of the night and then you're like, oh shit, like I don't want to forget like that was such a good thought. You're actually better waking up, like coming out of that sleep, writing it down, and then your brain's like, oh, okay, I don't need to work on trying to remember this. I'm gonna go back to sleep now. So
Yes.
it's really, or just like I wouldn't grab your phone to like use your notes because the blue light will probably fuck with your sleep.
Right.
But it's important to like if you're out traveling or something, just open up the notes and like voice text it. Like voice texting is like my lifesaver with like ideas and randomness. So you just like say, hey, whomever, and like take this note for me, and it's amazing. So
Yeah, I agree. And, to your point about the sort of sleep hygiene of like, if you wake up and you write that thing down and then you can go back to sleep and move on, because that is something that I have definitely been muddling through. And I know my morning whirling thought was about morning whirling thoughts. It's literally the same thing. I just can't remember like the genius aha moment that I had, which is super annoying. Um, but what I am trying to manage like for my own self, and this kind of started with me back even before I started coaching school. It was kind of one of the catalysts for me to start it, was that sort of feeling of like unrest, of waking up feeling really anxious, feeling like there was a lot of stuff going on that I was behind the eight ball on, like just this really like overwhelming feeling right before my eyes even open in the morning, before my feet hit the ground. And that is, for a number of reasons, obviously, starting with like just mental health. It's exhausting, and it causes anxiety, and it is definitely spiking my cortisol, which makes it hard to come down from that. Like when I wake up in the morning and I feel that my heart rate is accelerated, I'm like, that's not a great place to be. And I've gotten used to mantras. They really, for a while there, they were like life-saving. But one of the things that I'm trying to get better at is acknowledging the sleep and wake pattern and how much that can affect where my mental state goes in the morning. So if I wake up and it's early enough that like I could get up and start my day and I feel good in my head, I need to be getting up and starting my day then. As much as it's not ideal, when I think about getting up early, what we're doing when we roll over and go back to sleep, if it's a short amount of time, is we're just messing with our own REM cycle so badly that not only are we confusing our body for even the next night or how it's supposed to feel all day, but we're also confusing our mind with like, should I stay or should I go? Like where are
right.
we at here? And that's when I feel like the whirling starts, is where like I'm in that stage of like, I'm telling my body to go back to sleep, but my body's like, oh, girl, we got this whole checklist. Hold on, we can't go back to sleep. And it's like the two sides are fighting with each other. And then I notice heart rate increases, body temp increases, anxiety increases. It's all the things. Whereas if I would have, and I'm not saying do this at 3 o'clock in the morning, at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can go back to sleep and get more sleep.
Right.
But like
If it's
that,
5:30, 6 o'clock, it's time to get up. Yeah,
yeah, that
even a little bit before
5-ish.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, if I don't get up, what I am creating is so much more internal chaos than
Mhm.
if I would have just gotten up, because I am messing with my rhythms, all of my body rhythms, and I'm trapping all of the to-dos in my head without getting my ass out of bed and just doing them.
Yeah. So that's amazing, Amy. Like there's so much from that. I can think of like two or three books that are just like can support everything you're saying. The 5 a.m. Club, which I'm not sure I've ever actually gotten through. Um, but it's just like I get the point. So it's like okay, but the amount of stuff you can do at that 5 a.m. hour that like you don't have kids bother you, you don't have a husband bother you, like in my house, like the dog is still in a crate because he prefers it there. Like it's just like the 5 a.m. is like, yes. So there's one other book that's coming to me, the Miracle Morning one.
Yeah.
Was that Hal Elrod? Like that
Yeah.
book, he does the savers. So is it silence, affirmation, visionary? What's the other one? Something in reading and scripting. Oh, exercise. Like
I
doing
was
just
just gonna
doing
say, I think
exercise.
it's a movement one.
Yeah. And his app, you can do all of those in like 6 minutes. But
No, that's awesome.
you've done your morning ritual. Like it's amazing. So, but
I
there's
don't
the
think I ever knew there was an app to go with that book. I've read the book, but I don't think I ever knew there was an app to go with it.
yeah, I mean it's kind of expensive, but it's like if you need to follow it,
Yeah.
it's worth it. Like if it just helps you stay with that's amazing.
Yeah.
Um there's something else that I wanted to touch on. Like so when you were talking about, do you stay or do you go? Like how do you like, the benefit of it other than all the shit that you can get done ahead of time and the stress level, what about just monitoring your heart rate value at those times of staying or going, or what you're doing to your blood sugar? Like
Yeah.
part of the program that I run with my one-on-one patients is doing glucometer stuff because monitoring your sugar and like changing up your sugar is like foundational. Like that is where shit starts because if your sugar is all over the place, we know your cortisol is going to be also. So it's like, so yeah, but anyways, there was so much more to that. I have to go back to the journaling thing before I forget because,
Oh,
brain
go
fog
ahead.
sucks. But when you were talking about the pen, like my heart rate went up then because I'm like, go. How many of us journal girls are also like office supply snobs?
Yes.
Oh
Like
my God.
the pens that I use for coaching, which actually are downstairs because I took my last call from my sunroom, but the pen that I use is like a pen that I rely on not to piss me off. Like it cannot distract me from the topic at hand. It cannot make me feel any certain way other than like my pen is penning, and that's all I need from it.
Right?
The pen this morning was like, I was like, you are testing my patience, little buddy. But I also committed to not leaving my bedroom until I got it done. So I had no alternative except making sure that pen just started to do its freaking job.
Yeah.
But I was like, I happen to know. It's funny when you were saying this is my, if I can say this, not that I'm, besmirching any of the books because I have read them. I think there is so much good stuff in them. It's just not my life. Waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning actually doesn't help me in most capacities because my husband is awake at 5:15 and he works from home. And my children, I swear it's like they smell me when I get out of bed. So if my husband he has been telling me for years because he gets up super early to do what he does. Now I am up and out of the house 2 mornings out of the weekend far before anybody in my house is awake. But the other 3 weekday mornings, he's still up most of them. He alternates every other week, but whatever. He's still up at 5:15 and he always counts that as like his downtime because he knows I'm not going to voluntarily leave the bedroom at that time. But if I get up, my children get up. We don't know what it is. It has been happening since they were small. There is, even at this point, they're 7 and 9. There is a 90, probably 3% chance that if I get up and leave the bedroom, they will hear me and they will come downstairs.
And then
So
you distracted his time.
so then I've interrupted his time. I'm still at a place where I can't get the things done I wanted to get done because now I have tiny humans with me. So then I'm like, okay, what is the right answer here? And that is another reason why I told myself this morning that I could not leave my bedroom until I finished that journal piece because on my way to the bathroom, I saw that their door was still closed. So I was like, okay, I can go to the bathroom and go right back into my bedroom and hopefully not have them wake up because the first thing they do is come into me when they wake up, which is lovely. A lot of mornings they come in and we get to snuggle for a little bit, and that is just so, so wonderful. So when they wake up, when my feet hit the floor, the time just isn't productive anymore. The time is then family time, which isn't the worst thing in the world, But between you, me, and the whoever is listening, I would rather be asleep at that time if I had to choose. I'd rather be asleep than any of those options. So it's just, I think the knowledge that like working our circadian and our ultradian rhythms are so powerful. And as we enter, perimenopause and menopause, they're so susceptible of being thrown off. And when thrown off, all the other things that get thrown off or what we do that cause them to be thrown off, the the effects that it has are so profound that I find myself sort of in this, again, give and take of like, which schedule should I commit to? Should I commit to the early rise schedule, or should those days be more of my anomaly? And, my work days are more of my anomaly. And then the other 5 days of the week where I'm up, closer to 6:30 should be more of my regular days. And I know we want to do the best to make all 7 of them regular. That's just not where I'm at.
Right.
So I think that there is so many intricacies with inside of that scope. And, of course, they change as the seasons go, and they change as kid stuff goes, and they change as, not just seasons of life, but seasons outside, all those things. And figuring out, in my case right now, figuring out what triggers good things and what triggers bad things is super important to me, acknowledging that. So, focusing on, yes, I try to go to bed at the same time. Yes, I try to wake up at relatively the same time, but understanding that some days might be different simply based on, to your point, if I were tracking, like I use my watch or my phone to track HRV. I don't have an Aura ring. But that is something I keep looking at because I think that there's so much information in what goes into changing what our heart rate is responding to. We might think it responds to exercise in a stressed way when really it turns out, as it happened to my friend the other day, it responded higher to him doing his taxes than it did to him exercising. So figuring out what causes our personal stress and um what brings us back into a low stress mode, what gives our HRV more of a higher number, figuring those things out on an independent case by case basis, like I'm sure you're doing with your clients, is like so much easier than being like, once again, going back to your TSH levels, like, here's a bucket, fit in it. It's like, no, let's figure out who you are, what is setting you off, and then let's figure out what we know about how to edit it in a healthy way.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a big tangent.
That's okay. Before you like, I love my Aura ring. I would never pay full price for it. I waited until the Black Friday sale to get it then.
So I just got my second coupon offer from Fullscript, and the first one I was like, maybe I should get this, and then the coupon expired, and I just got my second one in my email yesterday, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is a sign I shouldn't wait.
I would encourage you to look at the Vivo Smart Garmin before you do that and just make sure that you know, like, I don't know if you have a favorite watch or something like that, but that one
Apple
actually will
Watch.
give you, just as good HRV tracking, and some good sleep tracking. So I would compare the two before you do that. But like the Aura Ring is easy too. I like my Aura Ring because I have had such a hard time with ovulating, and because I am very perimenopause, actually, like I was given HRT yesterday. Like I hit
Okay.
every single marker yesterday. I was pleasantly surprised, but also kind of defeated at the same time because of all the work that I've done trying to like minimize it. But like the brain fog, like I might not have the night sweats like some of the other people, but I sure have the other end of that. And then another book is Dr. Mary Claire Haver, the Galveston lady.
New
Yeah,
perimenopause,
I'm about
or
halfway
the
through.
new menopause, I think it's called actually.
Yeah, the new perimenopause. Yeah, that one I'm about halfway through. It's in like there's a few like I could go on some rampages about it. Like they're really pushing for like GLP-1s for perimenopause and menopause now. And like if you're on one, great, that's fine by you. But I think like there's other ways to go about it. I mean, if like that's definitely very controversial. So hopefully I didn't just like upset anybody or have upset anybody's apple cart. But like I think there needs to be a lot of work done before like somebody jumps to that. So that would be my one caveat for that book. But she definitely goes in and explains all of the details of perimenopause and like the different stages of things. So that having the Aura ring helped me because I went 47 days recently without having my menses.
Okay.
Um, but like for 20 of those 47 days, I felt like I should have. Like it was just
Oh.
like the constant PMS, the
Oh.
blow, the struggle, the sleepless nights. Like,
Oh.
but I mean that's just one example. So, but having the Aura ring and watching my temperatures helped me to track those.
Okay.
Oh, and then just it's really funny. Like you can see the days that I'm working with clients and I'm working on business. You can see the days that I'm working at the hospital, and they're two very like colorful, like different. Like, wow, your stress was like this, and now your stress is like this. I'm like, oh yeah, like I know what my body wants to be doing full time. So, but yeah, so yeah, if you want any other information on it, just shoot me a message, and I can shoot you a message about that other the Garmin.
Yeah, I have a brand new Apple Watch. I can't justify a Garmin purchase. But I also, my issue with sleeping, I don't sleep with this on
Right.
because it wakes me up. Like I can't, it's too much.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the Aura ring is like I can sleep with a ring on that is fine for me, but the watch is like that's
Yeah,
too much for me.
I agree. That's why I always stuck with it. So I've only had it since November. Um, but yeah, just make sure you do the measurement kit thingy too.
Yeah, that's a friend of mine was hoping that she still had hers, but I think I can like order the measure kit and then once I get the kit and I figure it out, then I order the ring and I can still use my it's a 30% off coupon. I'm like, that's really good.
I think that's just as good as Black Friday.
Yeah, it's a really good it comes out to like $245. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that was the Black Friday one. So yeah,
yeah,
if you need it to track it, then I mean, all like it's data. The
exactly.
data is so important. Like if you're trying to make changes, if you're trying to notice trends, it's data. Data is valuable. Data just helps us shift things and just make things better. Like I'm wearing a glucometer right now. I've got my CGM on. Okay. But like it's just data. Like I just want to make sure number one that I'm because well, what you know how we had the conversation last week about the whole fiber first or protein?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I am gonna stay solid on my protein first. Like
Changes the way you feel.
it not only changes the way I feel, but my sugars never go above like 120-ish. Like
That's good.
I stay. Like if I am pretty religious about having protein, whether it be one of my what's that primal those primal meat sticks.
Yeah.
Like if I have even just like one of those and then have an apple, like I'm fine. Like it's a nice healthy snack. My sugar doesn't spike. Like I'm good. Um so yeah, I'm pretty solid
Yeah.
about that. So
And
I'm
that, I mean, what you just said goes to the no naked carb rule. Like we
right,
shouldn't have any carbs on their own because it's going to spike our blood sugar. If
right.
we're going to have a carb, we should pair it with a fat or a protein. And that's just because we don't want to send our blood sugar through the roof. And because, then it's like, distinctly remember, I'll never forget the conversation with a client where she was like, starting to feel really hungry. And there was some disordered eating in her world. But she was like, I'm starting to feel really hungry. And I was like, okay, what else is going on in your situation right now? And she was very stressed out about something at work. And she was like, I feel like I'm gonna eat like a whole thing of Oreos. And I was like, okay, but let's manage the stress. Like, let's do the breathing. Let's go that way. And then she was like, okay, I still, felt like I wanted to put something in my body. So I had an apple and now I'm starving. And I was like, course you are. Like you
Yeah.
have to pair that apple with something. Otherwise, your blood sugar is going to be up and then it's going to be down. And then you're stuck in that, cycle of trying to regulate it. When if you just pair the foods, it takes it from this to this.
Right.
And that we can manage.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. But having the CGM just helps reinforce that thought process, like
Yeah.
just to keep making sure that I'm like not too high, not too low, that kind of stuff. I
Well,
will
and
confess
just learning
it
because
is.
our bodies process food like my body processes food different than your body processes food. I mean, the principles of like, yeah, a naked carb is going to spike it are the same for both of us, but how much and specifically what type of carb also
Right.
might change that for both of us. So, if setting your body up with a foundational protein is what you find keeps you nice and neutral, that's awesome. My body and my blood type is actually not great with animal proteins. They just make me sluggish and lethargic. And so that's always been a struggle of mine forever. So if I were to put that into my particular digestive system, my body first, I would feel my energy go down as opposed to going back up.
Yeah.
So these are just to your point, it's just data. It's just figuring out like how does your body respond to these things?
So do you not eat that much meat products?
I am so I do a whey protein. That's in my shake. And for the record, I'm not
Like
like an
strict.
animal rights. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not in any of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I just eat mostly like chicken, some ground turkey, not a ton of it. If I'm gonna do sausage, it's gonna be chicken. There's not a whole lot of pork product. There's no red meat from cows, or lamb or any other thing that people cut up that's bloody. I don't, I just don't particularly enjoy them. And they also make me feel really like just bleh.
Yeah.
I have type A blood, and it just something about the way that that all works together makes my blood like thicker. So I end up feeling very just like bleh when I eat it. Now, of course, I didn't know this when 13-year-old me decided to stop eating red meat. Um, I
Yeah.
just didn't really have an appetite for it. Now, I should also mention that recently, because of heavier menstrual cycles, I did start to get anemic. So that was something to be considered with just like, okay, how can I be figuring this out? I did start taking Primal Queen, which if and nobody knows what that is, that it's basically like, don't read the label, guys, it's nasty. But
It's like
it
liver and stuff,
basically,
right?
what's that?
Like liver and
It's organ meat.
yeah.
Yeah, like all the organs.
Many
Probably not all of them,
nutrients.
but like enough that you don't want to read the label. But I will say my hemoglobin hematocrit levels came back up. I've not had just straight up iron or ferritin tested again yet. But they did come up considerably.
Good.
And the feelings that I have had from getting rid of those low levels, getting that anemia kind of off the table, or at least it was. I'll see when I get my next blood work, but my energy level improved significantly, as well as um, funny things again that you notice, like my VO2 max when I was like running really well, and then all of a sudden I started to feel crappy. And when I found out I was anemic, it went in the toilet,
Oh
like
yeah.
so bad.
Think
And I
about
could
that though.
feel it. What's that?
Think about that though. I
Yeah.
mean, what is in your red blood cells? And when you don't have enough red blood cells, you don't have enough
You don't
oxygen.
have enough oxygen. You're
Yeah.
just, it was just like, I was so depleted that I just remember like I would go for a run and I would be like, why am I walking already? Why is my heart beating so fast? And then I would have a headache for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this can't happen. So I did, like I said, I started taking Primal Queen, and that has been really helpful. Now, another thing I will say, and I have no proof one way or the other, I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. One thing I will say is cholesterol numbers have started to go up.
That's
And
perimenopause.
it is perimenopause, but it can also have something to do with these
Deliver.
organ meats, because you have to remember I am a body who has not been taking on this type of stuff for a while. And so my body could be reacting to it a little bit differently. And I'm only saying that this is a maybe because I have to do follow-up labs. And I want to do my follow-up labs again. Like this is just a me situation. But I did my last labs very close to New Year's Eve, and that was stupid.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I have to do my next set of labs now that I, am away from the holidays, a very specific drinking holiday. So I do need to do those follow-up labs and see. It could have just been something with that that's messing with the cholesterol levels.
Yeah,
We'll
but
see where it goes.
no, that's a hard no. Because cholesterol levels are a kind of, I don't want to misspeak on it, but my thought process with cholesterol levels is they're kind of like a hemoglobin A1C. Like they give you an average of how you've been over the last 2 to 3 months. Like, so people who are diabetics, you know what hemoglobin A1C is, right?
Mm,
Okay, so for people who don't, so like you have your blood sugar done, and then you have the hemoglobin A1C, and that just gives you an average. So like 5 is a sweet number. Like you're good, you're solid there. Anything more than 6, then you are pre-diabetic, diabetic. Like you're on the verge. So I think cholesterol numbers are very similar that way. They don't just like creep up because you had a big rich steak and a few margaritas. Like it doesn't really work that way. So there's this one guy in town, and we have to go soon because it's getting closer to. There's this one guy in town. Whenever I drew his blood, like this is before I was a nurse, I was just a medical assistant. You could see the triglycerides floating in his blood. His cholesterol was so high. It was just like little white chunks. And it's like holy shit! Like oh my God. But anyways, so yeah, but I'd be curious to see what they are, you know. But
yeah.
I don't want people to think like I have high cholesterol, like I don't want you to like, no, what's the word I'm trying to think about it? Like you are super healthy, like how you eat, how you take care of yourself, like all of that.
Yeah.
So if your cholesterol going up, whether it's from the supplement you were taking or if it's from perimenopause, like it's all fixable. Like it's not like people who've been diagnosed with high cholesterol or diabetes or something like that, they think it's almost like a life sentence or high blood pressure or something
Yeah.
like there's not a lot of conversations in the medical field about fixing like here have a script like take this for the rest of your life. It's like how about we work on some of these lifestyle things and
Yeah.
then move forward. So everything is I like that's why I pivoted because I want to help people fix this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I tangent there, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's interesting because my particular cholesterol, as you said, like I eat well, I exercise plenty. My my triglycerides were high, and I do attribute that to coming off a holiday because there was alcohol involved. So that is gonna spike. It is the third time it's happened to me that I've taken blood work too close to having alcohol, whether it was the night before or leading up to, I mean, it was the whole ass holidays. I'm not saying I only drank on New Year's Eve. Let's be
Right.
honest, it was more than a couple margaritas over the course of 6 weeks. um so that does play a part in it, and I just know I'm susceptible to that when there's alcohol involved. My triglycerides will go up. My particular cholesterol that tends to be on the high side is the LP little a, so it is not fixable through diet and exercise supposedly. And that is the one that I'm a little bit trying to like deep dive on because I don't know a ton about it except that it is mostly genetic. And when I was asking my family about their health history, my dad just kept telling me that he had great cholesterol. And it turns out he has great cholesterol because he's on a statin. And
Thanks, Dad.
I was like, Dad, you're on cholesterol medication. He's like, no, I'm on medication for my heart. I was like,
Yeah. He's also of the generation that just give him a pill, he'll fix it. So,
right. And that's definitely, it's actually the reason I stepped away from my PCP because when I went to her and, discussed normal perimenopausal things like my cholesterol is increasing a bit, my period is heavier than it should be. I do experience anxious times. She was like, here's the prescription and description and description. And I was like, no, girl, like that's not it for me. And I asked about like red yeast rice because that can be like nature's statin. Um, and so I asked about that. I was like, what about supplements? And her response was that she doesn't recommend supplements because they're not FDA approved and they could be made in labs that have things like mouse poop in them. And I was like,
oh.
oh, oh,
Yeah.
that's your argument in this doctor's office with all your degrees is mouse poop.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's a
Um,
good reason to walk away. Oh.
yeah, so that is what makes me happy about the fact that this is such a deep, pursuit of yours is to say, like, we don't have to jump right to the script. And coming from the medical field with your vast level of experience and knowledge, and then knowing what to dig into deeper on it to really look at the whole picture is like, what women need right now. They need someone who's going to be like, just because A plus B happened, C is not inevitable.
Hmm.
Let's just figure out why A and B happened and what it means when they try to add themselves together.
Yeah.
Like, let's just figure it out. Let's pull this stuff apart. And there's, again, like bio individuality, of course, we know is going to be present and all of that stuff, but that's the exact point. Is
Right.
like, don't look at me based against a chart of averages. Look at me, talk to me, and help me figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not even like, you're talking about the averages, but the only reason like there's any sort of diagnosis is for the extremes. So like yeah, I have had many conversations with those in the medical field, and we don't fix anything. They just
No.
diagnose and treat. Like
Yeah.
this is why we need to. This is why we are here, is to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, so amazing. Yes. Oh my gosh. Such another good, like, such a great chat with you, Amy. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? Because I know you had to go at 2 and we're actually over. So,
Yeah, it's all right. I was just thinking next time that we talk, maybe just explaining like what your role as, a health coach with the things that you feel strongly about and passionately about is like, if someone is saying like maybe I should be working with you, like maybe I need you. I don't think we've ever explained what either one of us does.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that next time.
So, I just thought that might be interesting. I know it's all over, both of our pages and whatever, but I just thought it might be interesting for people to understand because there is just so much gray area out there. And, to be honest, I think maybe I'm focused on this because it's something I've been legitimately focused on, just trying to figure out like, how do I communicate to someone exactly what I do? I'm super great at saying what I don't do, but
That's important too. That is
it is,
important.
yes, it is important to stay within your scope of practice. But, just helping someone understand like, well, what do you do to help someone like me? I
Mhm.
think is important. It's
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is. We can do that next time, but you got to go first.
Jack
Yeah.
of all.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, so that we can do that. We can totally do that.
Yeah, I just think that might be interesting. And then also, at some point, I think it might be really interesting for people to understand from your more medical perspective, like how you are drawing the conclusions you're drawing and like why it makes sense to understand and how, even when you do go to your doctor, how you can advocate for yourself by using the right language
Mhm.
and the right level of empowerment because we often get told like you don't need that lab, that's not a traditional lab. And just even as I think it was like in the first 5 seconds of the conversation we were saying like, but does she have all the right information? And it's like,
Right,
who know, nobody told her what labs to advocate for.
right.
So I think those are just some interesting things that sharing with people, how they can advocate for themselves and, how whatever working with you helps them learn to do that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, it's interesting. So I know we have to go, I'm sorry, but I walked
Okay.
into that appointment yesterday with a new GYN, and I had my notebook, I had my list of questions, but I did the mindset work before going in. So I knew that it was going to be a good visit, and I knew I was going to be listened to. I didn't go in thinking like this is gonna be fucking terrible. She's not gonna listen to me. Like I did the mindset work that went with it, and she was amazing. Like I'm so grateful that I found her. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Well, and the
yeah,
mindset work and the education behind it, because if you didn't
yeah.
feel confident in what was in your notebook, then
Right.
it's really easy for someone to brush you off.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Like I came in and I handed like all of the like I had the right labs. I knew like she was looking at it. She's like, "Wow, you did really good with this." I'm like, "Yeah, girl, I do
thank
this
you.
for a living." So yeah, no, it
But
was
that's awesome. Just think about what you just said. Like, yeah, I didn't walk into this doctor's office like a clueless patient. I walked in like someone who does this for a living.
yeah,
You
but at the
say that
same
with
time,
confidence.
yeah, but at the same time, there was also like the edge, like, don't go there. Like, don't tell me that I need to try harder or like eat less and do more. Like, there is that edge. Like, maybe not so much of an edge, but it's like I know I didn't need to take no for an answer. I know I
Yeah,
like
you're empowered.
I very much was like, and I like, yeah. So, but it was, yes, I would love to share that with other people. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just critical, I think, to, not everybody, of course, is going to have your pedigree, but people can still understand why they're walking in, asking for what they're asking for, and that no is not the answer.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not an answer we have to take. We
Yeah.
can advocate for ourselves, and we should.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But you have to do the work that goes with it also. So, absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, you get to go first. Tag, you're it. And then, so we will. Oh, if anybody has any questions, please drop them in because, as you can see, we talk about everything. Like filters or no filters, we can cover it. And if we don't know, we can find out. But chances are, between the two of us, we can come up with something pretty good. And then we'll be back hopefully again next week. And do you have anything else you want to add? Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys. I hope people are getting some value out of this. I'm having a lot of fun talking about it. It helps me, again, just like we were saying before, like, what is it that you do and how do you help people? It really helps me paint a very clear picture, even mentally, about like, this is my area that I like to help people in, and this is my area I like to know somebody that can help people in. And I think that that is really, it has been a struggle. And I want to help
Yeah.
everybody do everything, but I think core competency is super important, and knowing what we like to be able to help people with helps me enjoy these conversations more. There's nothing fun about sitting here talking about something that makes you feel um uninformed. I like to sit on these talks and talk about things that make me feel like, if this resonated with you, I got you. I can help you.
Right.
And if something that Nikki said resonated with you, she's got you. She can help you. Like, we're here to support you. So take the opportunity to ask questions, you know,
Absolutely.
share with us what you're thinking about or struggling with, because whether it has something to do with lab work or love life, we could probably have a real good conversation about it.
Yes. Oh my God, Amy, I love you so much. That was so perfect. Yeah, we could just gossip about that. That's fine too. Oh my God. All right. Well, thank you so much. Um,
Absolutely.
I will talk to you next week.
We'll do it next week. Enjoy your
All
week.
right. Bye,
See you,
hun.
babe.